Good evening and a very warm welcome to you all. Welcome to the Buddhist Society online basic meditation class. And this is the last of these classes this term. We resume again in September. At the end of the session, Marlon will, I think, give out the exact dates. If you are with me at lunchtime, I'm going to really just do some more metta practice. My name's Richard Bober, and I've been teaching this class for this term. I used to teach on the Theravada Class. And earlier today, in the lunchtime session, we did some basic loving kindness practice. And that's what I propose to do this evening. It's partly a reflection of my own practice, is what I tend to emphasize. And that's where I teach from. So just to say a few words, metta is the Pali word for loving kindness, and it's one of the four fundamental qualities in Buddhist practice. It's the foundation practice, and very much the emphasis is on starting with ourselves. We practice loving kindness towards ourselves first. And I'll say some more about that towards the end when we've actually been through the practice. But I invite you now just to come to your normal meditation sitting posture, to a comfortable upright position. So something you can hold reasonably well for half an hour or so. And just see if you can establish a sense of being grounded or earthed by just placing your attention for a moment or two on the points of contact you have with the floor. So if you're sitting on a chair, it would be the soles of your feet resting just completely on the surface of the floor. And if you're sitting cross-legged on a cushion on the floor, it'll be something like your ankles and shins. So just get a sense of the contact and feeling connected with the earth. And I invite you to close your eyes or have a half-opened-eyed position, whatever feels natural and comfortable for you. And then I invite you just to place your attention on your back and just notice how you're holding your spine and see if you can have it just upright and aligned with your pelvis at one end and with your neck and your head at the other. So everything's in a nice upright column, but at the same time, not rigid or stiff, relaxed. And find a comfortable neutral position for your hands in your lap or on your thighs, upturned or downturned. Just a position that feels comfortable and easy to hold. And then beginning at your feet, just bring your attention into your feet, the soles of your feet. And just notice whatever there is to notice. So with feeling the body, with scanning the body, there's no judgment, we're just noticing. And we're being open to everything that there is to notice. Nothing is excluded. And we have no control over what we notice, we just notice. And if there's nothing to notice when we're scanning the body, we acknowledge that too. So moving upwards from the soles of the feet, just take in your ankles, and then moving up your lower leg, just feel your shins and your calves. And take your time and move upwards towards your knees. And the invitation is to really feel. It's not to think about or imagine, but really feel. And from the knees, I invite you just to move up your upper legs, your thighs and your hamstrings, just noticing the contact with the chair or the cushion. And just move up until you come to your sitting bones on the chair or the cushion. And from your sitting bones, I invite you just to move up from your pelvic area into your torso. Just take in the spine at the back. And just slowly move up the back, vertebra by vertebra. Just noticing whatever there is to notice. And just slowly progress upwards towards your neck. And at your neck, I invite you just to take in your arms, your hands and your fingers. Just notice whatever there is to notice. And at the back of your neck, just notice any tension you might be carrying there. And just relax around it. Soften the body. And then I invite you to move up into your head, taking in the face at the front and the back of the head. Include your ears and come to rest at the crown of your head. And from the crown of your head, I invite you just to lengthen a fraction towards the sky so that everything's pulled up in a nice, upright, aligned column. And now I invite you just to take in the whole of your physical body, from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet, just the whole of your physical body, the points of contact with the floor, with the chair or the cushion, the clothes on your skin surface, the air on your hands and your face, and perhaps your arms. Just notice the boundaries of your physical body. And within this upright, still physical body, I invite you just to notice the movement caused by your breath. So in the same way that we noticed other parts of the body, we're now noticing movement. Wherever it occurs most vividly for you. Often that's in the chest area or in the abdomen, or perhaps at the rim of the nostrils. So noticing the body like this in a non-judgmental way is an act of kindness to ourselves. Noticing the breath just as it is an act of kindness. We're not controlling it or telling it to be other than that which it is. So non-judgmental awareness is in itself an act of kindness. So I invite you now to bring your attention to your physical heart. So it's in your chest area, just to the left, around your rib cage, your upper rib cage. And just notice if you can pick up the beat of your heart. It doesn't matter if you can't. Some of us find it easy, some of us not so easy. But just place your attention in that area. Often it's just below the breath. And staying with the physical heart, I invite you now just to bring to mind at the physical heart a memory, a recollection of a time where you felt unreserved kindness, love, benevolence towards a person or a creature. This can be current or it can be in the past. So this is quite subtle. You're not being asked to tell yourself stories about the past, but connect with the quality of love and benevolence, generosity towards that person or that creature. So it can be someone older than you, a parental figure, a grandparental figure, or it can be younger than you, a child, a baby, or it can be a creature, a puppy, a kitten, dog, a cat. Someone or something that you felt just unreserved kindness and affection, generosity, benevolence. And it's the quality that I'm encouraging you, inviting you to connect with at your heart. And if that's difficult for you, then I invite you to imagine it and bring the same quality to your physical heart. And allow this quality, this sense, it's almost a physical sense, just to light a candle flame at your physical heart. Allow the flame to be kindled and to grow. and feel around the candle flame the warmth and the light. The warmth and light of loving kindness. As soon as you have a sense of that, I invite you to allow it to expand inside you. So moving out from your physical heart, upwards to your neck and your head, out to the sides, taking in your lungs, your shoulders, your arms, and downwards through your organs and your digestive tract towards your pelvis. So let it spread outwards, radiating all around you, through you. Let it spread down your arms into your wrists, your hands, your fingers, your fingertips. Let it spread down your legs from your pelvic area, down through your knees, to your ankles, to the soles of your feet, to your toes, to the tips of your toes. Move it up through your head, into your face, your back of your head, your brain, your ears, the crown of your head. So let the warmth and light of loving kindness spread into your muscles, your tendons, your ligaments. Let it permeate your bones. Let it spread into every cell in your body. To every molecule in your body, even the DNA. And when you're ready, I invite you from that same candle flame in your heart to let this warmth and light of loving kindness radiate from your body, spreading outwards all around you, to your nearest and dearest, to people close by. And then outwards again into the local community, your neighbours, your neighbours' neighbours, the people that provide you services, the delivery drivers, the bin men, the people in your local shop. Just allow this warmth of loving kindness, the light of loving kindness, just to spread out to them all. And when you're ready, spread it out again to your local town, village, your county. And then outwards again to the whole country, taking in everyone, the rich and the poor, the powerful and the meek. And spread outwards again from the country to around the entire world, taking in all peoples everywhere. Include all creatures, all living beings. Wishing in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, wishing them all to be at ease. And now I invite you just to come back to your own heart and to feel this warmth and light of loving kindness again in your own heart. Just feel it in yourself, for yourself. Notice any resistance to any of this, and just include the resistance in the light and the warmth of loving kindness. It's all right to be resistant. Just accept it. It's very natural and normal. So I invite you now just to come back to your own breath. Just notice the movement caused by the breath. Again, I invite you to notice how the breath is within the body, without judgment, knowing that not to judge is an act of kindness to yourself. And then I invite you to drop your attention down to the points of contact with the floor, the places where you're earthed. And just feel the connection with the ground. So please feel free to stretch and adjust your position. I invite you to stand up just for a minute or two. This is in place of a walking meditation, but just to alter your position, it's sometimes good. Just stand up and just feel for a moment what it's like just to be standing rather than sitting. You don't have to do this. This is entirely optional. And just feel what it's like just to be upright. And feel your feet on the floor. And just notice your breath in the upright position. And again, just see if you can align your head and your neck with your spine, and your spine with your pelvis. And then just feel the whole of your physical body just standing upright. And when you're ready, just take a seat again. It's just to alter our position just for a moment or two. Helps the state of mind as well as the body. I just wanted to read to you a little section from a book that I've been working with on loving kindness. It's by an insight meditation teacher. You've probably come across her, Sharon Salzberg. And it's a very in-depth look at the practice of metta. And I just thought I would read you a small section from this, for one of the earlier chapters. The practice of metta, uncovering the force of love that can uproot fear, anger, and guilt, begins with befriending ourselves. The foundation of metta practice is to know how to be our own friend. According to the Buddha, you can search throughout the entire universe for someone who is more deserving of your love and affection than you are yourself. And that person is not to be found anywhere. You yourself, as much as anyone in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. So this is back to Sharon Salzberg. She goes on, how few of us embrace ourselves in this way. That's so true, isn't it? That is so true. With metta practice, we uncover the possibility of truly respecting ourselves. So that's one of the, I think that's probably the important take-home lesson from this session and any session on loving kindness practice, is that you begin with yourself. And you know, I mentioned in that guidance, I mentioned resistances, and perhaps I should say a few more words about resistances. Metta practice is quite challenging in many ways. It often throws up when we move the energy of loving kindness outwards. It often throws up quite stark reminders. Well, actually, I don't feel terribly loving and kind to this particular person or that particular person. Often, you know, you start the practice with the nearest and dearest, and it's quite often those people that we have most problems with. It's quite easy to feel loving and kind to the entire humanity, but when it comes to people around us, it's often quite challenging. And I think the important thing here is to actually acknowledge that and sort of, this is how it is. This is what I'm working with. And the important thing here is to know that this practice is working with intention. It's not where, it's not, it doesn't matter if we don't feel completely 100% loving and kind to all the people that we include in the practice. The important thing to mention is our direction, where we're facing, the movement that we're in, where we wish to be going. So our intention is really important. And so too with ourselves. It's quite challenging, even at a subtle level, when you hear a meditation teacher inviting you to be loving and kind, to fill yourself up with the warmth and light of loving kindness. Often that can throw up for us just little subtle resistances, and for some of us, quite conscious big resistances. So many of us have been brought up in the Western culture, Judaic Christian tradition, and for all its virtues, it has a lot of problems associated with it. And truly respecting ourselves is one of those problems. And for many of us, this comes into stark relief when we start to practice metta. And again, the important thing here is to acknowledge the resistance. Yeah, just simply that, to know it, actually consciously to name it. I'm resistant to this. This is a problem for me. Internally, just actually naming it and extending the energy of loving kindness, that's the warmth and the light, extending that energy to the resistance. Now, if you don't quite know how to do that, let me just give you a few pointers. So you're doing the practice and you hear a meditation teacher encouraging you to extend loving kindness to yourself. And there's a little part of you that feels, actually, nah, don't want to go there, doesn't feel quite right. So the energetic movement is to simply know that this is the case, acknowledge it, consciously name it, I'm resistant to this. And then to surround, as it were, that resistance with the warmth and light of loving kindness. That's all you need to do, just surround it. Knowing, and this is a big step for many of us, knowing that loving kindness has its own power, it has its own dynamic, it has its own way of penetrating and yes, undermining resistance, and trusting that. The intention here is the important thing. So if you can understand that the benefits of being loving and kind to yourself, and then you run into a resistance, you can still have the intention to continue practicing and extend the loving kindness to yourself, and trust that eventually the resistances will dissolve. And if you read the writers, the people who have worked with these practices, like Sharon Salzberg, that's clearly set out, is how loving kindness eventually has its own power, its own dynamic, and undermines resistance. So it's something we might wish to work with. And again, here I would say, don't just take my word for all of this. I really encourage you to practice, to explore working with loving kindness, and see for yourself if these pointers work for you. And there's a lot of good literature out there. Sharon Salzberg is just one. I don't know if any of you have come across the wonderful little meditation book by Ajahn Amaro of Amaravati Monastery. There's a little book called Finding the Missing Piece. And in it, there's a wonderful chapter on loving kindness. And I really do commend that to you. So we're working with the energy of loving kindness. Now, I've probably said this to this group before. There are very many different ways of doing this practice. Almost every teacher has their own particular style, and some people use a repetition of words and phrases like, may you be well, may you be happy, may you be at peace. And those repetitions are almost like a mantra. They can work very well for some people. And yeah, I commend them to you. Experiment with those and see if they work for you. I just happen to like working with energy and the warmth and light energy, and that's where I feel most comfortable. So, but you know, see what works for you. So that's the one big take-home lesson from today, is start with yourself. That's a big one, and acknowledge your resistances. So two things to notice. Does anyone have any questions or comments they would like to put in the chat? I'm quite happy to speak to those if anyone has. What I propose to do just for the remaining minutes of this session, if no one actually puts anything into the chat, is I will read you the Metta Sutta. I will read it to you slowly. It's really beautiful. Even the translation into English from Pali has its own poetic resonance. And if you can get hold of a copy, but plenty, if you just go online, actually, there's plenty of versions of it online. It really is worth reading and reflecting on and using in your practice. It's like a piece of poetry. And then when I've read it, I suggest we just sit and we just sit with it. Yes, okay, I've got a little question in the chat. I'll just respond to that now. It was about Sharon Salzberg. I'll put that into the chat. It's oh, right, okay. I'll put it in for everyone, I think. Hang on. That's it, okay. Okay. So, here's the Metta Sutta. The Buddha's words on loving kindness. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing in gladness and in safety. May all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another, or despise any being in any state. Let none, through anger or ill will, wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so, with a boundless heart, should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding, by not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. So thank you all very much for attending these classes this term. I've really appreciated that you've given Thursday evenings to come into this class. It means a great deal to me, and I hope you've derived some benefits from it. And I wish you all very well for the coming weeks until September. And just to say that this practice is something you can really do on your own and just see if it works for you. I really do commend it to you, especially if you're finding your current circumstances difficult. This is a real resource, and to know that you yourself can generate internally your own feelings of benevolence and kindness towards yourself. And if the world is outside our control, which mostly it is, this is one part of the world, your own heart, that you do have influence over. So with that parting thought, I'll pass you over to Marlon, who I believe has some end of term notices.
Thank you very much, Richard. That was a great class, as always. So yeah, end of term, we start again on September 7th, I believe, the second Monday. Yeah, I think it's about September 7th. And all the details are on the website. We still have lunchtime meditation tomorrow, and on Sunday we have Zen Sunday. And also, I'd encourage you to keep an eye on the Buddhist Society YouTube channel, because in addition to Richard's meditations, and this one's being recorded and others have been, and other teachers, so there will be more coming out on that throughout the end of term kind of break. So yeah, thank you again, Richard.
Very welcome. It's lovely to see you all. I wish you all well.